The Philadelphia Eagles face a critical offseason, and the future of a potential Hall of Fame tackle remains one of their biggest question marks. That single reality now defines everything happening inside the Eagles complex. Championships are won in moments, but they are protected in off-seasons like this. With the 2025 campaign officially over, Philadelphia stands at a crossroads where legacy, loyalty, and hard football decisions collide. At the center of it all are two massive storylines: the uncertain future of Lane Johnson and the scrutiny surrounding star wide receiver A.J. Brown. This is not just another off-season recap. This is the story of an organization balancing respect for its legends with the ruthless demands of winning in today's NFL. Silence speaks loud in Philadelphia. When Eagles general manager Howie Roseman stepped to the podium for his end-of-year press conference, fans hoped for answers. Instead, they got something far more telling: restraint. Asked directly about Lane Johnson's future, Roseman refused to tip his hand, choosing his words carefully, almost deliberately vague. "I think all those conversations that we have with our players are between us and anything they're doing," Roseman said. "I'm not saying that negatively or positively, but anyone you ask about, I think that's their business to discuss. Obviously, you're talking about a Hall of Fame player who's been a huge part of any of our success that we've had, and when you watch him play, he's still playing at an elite level." To some, that sounded like standard front office speak. To others, it felt like the calm before a storm. Around the NFL, teams rarely reveal a veteran's retirement intentions publicly. But in Philadelphia, silence around Lane Johnson feels heavier than usual. The Eagles are entering an off-season loaded with difficult choices. Free agency looms. The draft approaches quickly. The salary cap leaves little room for error. And clarity at premium positions, especially along the offensive line, is essential. That is why the lack of definitive news about Johnson's future has become deafening. The cost of losing a pillar Lane Johnson is not just another lineman, he is a cornerstone. For over a decade, he has been the anchor on the right side of Philadelphia's offensive line, protecting quarterbacks, setting the tone in the run game, and embodying the physical identity the Eagles pride themselves on. In 2025, however, Father Time finally began asking harder questions. At 35 years old, Johnson appeared in only 10 regular season games. Injuries piled up, and while his toughness was never in doubt, his availability became an issue. The absence hurt most when it mattered most. In the wildcard loss to the San Francisco 49ers, Johnson was not on the field. A Lisfranc sprain suffered late in the season shut him down, forcing him to miss the final 7 games. Though he returned to practice in a limited role, his body simply would not allow him to suit up for the playoff clash. The result was noticeable immediately. The Eagles' offense lacked its usual stability. Protection broke down quicker. The run game struggled to establish rhythm. It was a stark reminder of just how valuable Johnson still is, even late in his career. Elite play, even through pain. What makes this decision so difficult is not sentimentality. It is performance. When Lane Johnson was on the field in 2025, he was still dominant. Before the injury against Detroit, Johnson did not allow a single sack on all of his pass-blocking snaps. He surrendered just one quarterback hit all season. Those numbers scream elite. They do not suggest decline. They suggest all-pro caliber play. For the Eagles, that creates a dilemma. Johnson's resume already speaks for itself. 13 seasons, multiple Pro Bowls, Super Bowl glory, a reputation as one of the best tackles of his generation. On top of that, he remains under contract through 2027. Just 1 year ago, Johnson publicly stated that he was definitely not retiring. But football changes fast. Injuries accumulate. Recovery gets harder. And when your body no longer cooperates, even the fiercest competitors must confront reality. The Eagles must now prepare for both possibilities: a return that stabilizes the offense, or a departure that forces a major reset along the line. Roster dominoes and salary cap reality. Lane Johnson's decision impacts far more than just one position. It affects everything. If he returns, the Eagles can delay a full transition and focus resources elsewhere. If he retires, Philadelphia must immediately address one of the most valuable positions in football. Elite offensive tackles do not grow on trees. Finding one in free agency is expensive. Drafting one requires premium picks and patience. Developing one takes time the Eagles may not feel they have. The salary cap only complicates matters. Every dollar allocated to the offensive line influences decisions at wide receiver, defense, and quarterback support. Roseman is known league-wide for his creativity, but even the best cap managers need clarity to operate efficiently. That is why Johnson's silence, intentional or not, now defines the Eagles' offseason strategy. A.J. Brown enters the spotlight. While Lane Johnson's future dominates the long-term conversation, another storyline exploded into focus after the playoff loss. A.J. Brown, as the Eagles' season ended, cameras captured frustration, missed opportunities, crucial moments that slipped away. Brown's struggles in the wildcard game stood out immediately. 2 incomplete passes in key moments became talking points across sports media. Yet, context matters. Brown once again cleared 1,000 receiving yards, marking his 4th straight season reaching that milestone. Consistency like that is rare. Since entering the league, the former Ole Miss star has been one of the most reliable receivers in football. In 2023, he hauled in over 106 passes. In 2025, that number dipped to 78, raising eyebrows and questions. Naturally, Roseman was asked whether Brown's future in Philadelphia remained secure. Howie Roseman, draws a line Roseman, did not hesitate when asked about A.J. Brown. His answer was firm, confident, and revealing. "It is hard to find great players in the NFL, and A.J.'s a great player," Roseman said. "I think from my perspective, that's what we're going out and looking for when we go out here in free agency and in the draft, is trying to find great players who love football, and he's that guy. I think that would be my answer." That statement spoke volumes. In an offseason filled with uncertainty, Brown is not someone the Eagles are looking to replace. They see him as part of the solution, not the problem. Still, the criticism did not come from nowhere. A brutal night in Santa Clara against the 49ers, A.J. Brown had one of the quietest games of his Eagles career. When the moment demanded a response, the results were disappointing. On a pivotal 3rd-down drive in the 4th quarter, Brown dropped a catchable ball that would have kept Philadelphia in control. Later, as the Eagles chased points on their final possession, another miscue ended a promising drive early. The final stat line was hard to ignore. 3 catches, 25 yards, 7 targets. For a player of Brown's caliber, that simply was not good enough. In the NFL, star players are judged most harshly in the biggest moments. Fair or not, that is the reality. The contract that changes everything, even if frustration exists. The financial reality surrounding A.J. Brown leaves little room for drastic moves. Brown is in the middle of a massive 3-year, $96 million extension packed with guarantees. According to SpotTrack, his projected cap hit in 2026 climbs north of $23 million. The dead money tied to his contract makes any early separation unrealistic. Trading or releasing Brown would create more problems than it solves. From a team-building perspective, the Eagles are far better off investing in maximizing Brown's impact rather than questioning his place on the roster. Pressure. Without panic for all the noise surrounding Philadelphia, the Eagles are not panicking. They are frustrated, yes. Disappointed, certainly. But this is still an organization that understands its competitive window remains open. Lane Johnson, if he returns, still plays at an elite level. A.J. Brown remains one of the league's most feared receivers. The core of this team is intact. What makes this offseason so compelling is not desperation, but precision. Every move must be calculated. Every decision must balance short-term contention with long-term stability. The road ahead for the Eagles ease the league resets. The Eagles face questions that define franchises. How do you honor legends without letting nostalgia dictate your future? How do you support stars while demanding accountability? How do you stay aggressive without becoming reckless? The answers will come slowly. Lane Johnson's decision will shape the draft board. A.J. Brown's response will shape the locker room. And Howie Roseman's ability to navigate both will determine whether Philadelphia remains a Super Bowl contender or slides into transition. One thing is clear. This offseason will not be quiet. The Philadelphia Eagles stand at a defining moment. With uncertainty surrounding a potential Hall of Fame tackle and intense scrutiny on one of the league's top receivers, every decision carries massive consequences. Yet, beneath the questions lies opportunity. If Lane Johnson returns, the Eagles gain stability and leadership. If A.J. Brown rebounds, the offense regains its explosive edge. And if Howie Roseman once again outmaneuvers the league, Philadelphia could emerge stronger than ever. This is the NFL at its most unforgiving and most fascinating. And for Eagles Nation, the story is only just beginning.